Well, greetings to everybody. My name is Evan Duke, and I am going to be taking a few minutes to talk with you all today about some of the important variables to consider when it comes to preparing to get your business ready for sale. Now, my primary tool that I'm going to be using today is the exit planning suite, which is something that my company has developed. So, what I want to do right now is I want to switch over to the suite, which I'll take a look at this screen. What you can see here is this is the basically the first three tools that you come across: the business valuation calculator, which is going to be what we're going to be using primarily today. The business exit readiness, which essentially is going to be a checklist that if you go through, you can select and you can see just how close you are to actually being ready to exit your business. The organizational chart builder is designed to help you see just how well built out your leadership team is. Surprise, surprise, it does you don't need to have a C-suite of say 15 people in order to have your X business ready, but what you do need to make sure is you have a leadership team that is capable of running this team independently of you. And that is what the organizational chart builder is designed for. Scrolling down here, the cash flow optimization calculator is a tool that is designed to show ways that you can improve your cash flow from basically adjustments on receivables to strategies for payables. Essentially, what this is designed to do is show you ways that you can help really streamline your cash flow and just better position your business in that regard. The due diligence simulator here, what this is designed for is to really show how close you are to an actual sale. Again, you may notice that there is an exit readiness and then the due diligence. You're like, okay, well, are these the same thing? Well, here's the beauty of exit planning. Exit planning can actually mean really one of two things. The first way, which is what this exit readiness is talking about, has to do with how close you actually are to exiting the day to day operations of the business. In other words, you as the owner could still actually own this business without actually needing to sell it to somebody. The due diligence simulator, though, it's not focused on how close you are to exiting the business. It's focused on how close it is to being ready for sale and just making sure that you have all of your legal ducks in a row. So, having shown you all of that, the one I want to focus on is the business valuation calculator during this session, partly because the other tools are very much hands on, and really the business valuation calculator is, but there are some very important things with this valuation calculator that I want to kind of hone in on just because it'll emphasize, just why there are so many disparate um, valuations that are given. So, what I would encourage you to do is if you come across this suite, just feel free to just put in numbers based on your business and make the adjustments and just really see how. Things stack up because that really is what is this is not designed to be replacing professionals. Instead, it's designed to be a diagnostic tool. So with our business valuation calculator, what I want us to look at now is I want us to simply take a look and see how the same business can have radically different valuations. So what we're going to do for annual revenue is we're going to put in 5 million. For EBITDA, we're going to put in 1 million. The reason I like to use these benchmarks is when it comes to dealing with M&A advisors, investment banks, these tend to be benchmarks that get used as, the baseline for your being able to exit your business. And, like, okay, we'll take a look at it and say, okay, well, if you're going to be exiting and you want to sell it and you have annual revenue of this and EBITDA of this, we'll definitely work with you. But if you're below them, usually they'll say no. Obviously, there might be some special case scenarios if it's very close, but the reality is this tends to be the bottom and really, the metric that you want to be able to hit in order to be able to sell via M&A. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to do examples with multiple industries. Let's say we have these numbers, and let's just say we're in a technology. And let's say, maybe a 5% growth rate, which, it's not great, especially considering just how the tech industry actually really is growing compared and is actually more valuable than a lot of the other industries. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at the owner dependency level. We're going to put it at high, and we're going to give it a weak position. And the valuation is going to come back at that. So 19 million. That's a lot. But here's the thing. The reality is the numbers that I put in here have greatly diminished this valuation. So here's the reason why. And again, I wanted to put these the bottom numbers in just to illustrate how big of an impact they can have. So let's come up here with the first one, annual growth rate. In order to really unlock some really good multiples when it comes to selling your business, most businesses are going to be looking at, say, a 15 or up to 25% annual growth rate. And if you're hitting that, then people are going to go, okay, yeah, this is a very valuable business. So let's just increase this up to 15%, and let's just calculate a valuation again. So you see, with just that one increase, now we've jumped up to almost 22 million. Now, one disclaimer I should be making is with these valuations, this is not, I'm not going to say necessarily if you have these numbers that you can be guaranteed you're going to get them. There are a lot of variables that are going to come into play, such like when it comes to selling the business, particularly what we're saying is like, okay, if the business valuation is agreeing with our assessment, then it's like, okay, yeah, then we're going to, we'll agree with that value. But, there could be a lot of companies very similar to yours that are for sale. And as a result, the demand is going to be depressed. So there are a lot of reasons for why I want to emphasize that, when you're looking at these numbers, don't take them as gospel just because of the fact that there are different variables that could drive your valuation down. So now what we're going to do is the annual growth rate, 15%. That's obviously going to not necessarily be as consistent with this weak position because, if you're growing at 15%, you probably have a stronger position. So let's actually put it to a strong position, which would really be more consistent with the annual growth rate. And with that consistent, making sure that that is consistent, now your valuation is at 27 million, a little bit over that. So remember, let's come back here. Remember when we were at a weak position and the annual growth rate was at 5%? The number, actually, no, sorry. I put that wrong. So remember, okay, there we go. So 19 million was, with that 5% growth rate and then, weak position. But, if we have actually a strong position and an annual growth rate, we go from 19 million all the way up to 27 million. So just that change in, growth rate as well as strengthening our market position, that increases the value a lot. And of course, let's just say, we were talking about, say, the 25% valuation. Well, let's just say, okay, 25%, and it's a market leader, just really up everything. Well, now your value is right at 35 million. So we've gone from 19 million to 35 million. Now, these numbers are looking good, but here's the problem: is you're actually still struggling because of the fact that at the end of the day you have high business dependency on the owner. So with that high dependency, the reality is you might be looking and thinking that 35 million looks really good, but the problem is it's actually not anywhere near what it could be, and it's because of the fact that you're highly dependent on the owner. So let's just say, okay, let's just take some time. So it's now medium dependency on the owner. And again, you might be thinking, okay, well, let's take a look at the price change. Okay, now we're up to 42 million. Think about it. We went with this high level dependency, we were 35 million. Now we go to medium, and we're right at 42 million. You might be thinking, wow, why does this have such an impact? Well, because here's the reality. If you're going to sell this business and there's high dependency on the owner, that is going to greatly devalue what you can expect. So let's put the scenario that obviously would be, every business owner's dream. Low dependency on the owner. In other words, you could basically be spending 6 months in Tahiti, then come check in and just see, okay, everything's fine, and then just be a world traveler. And so let's see where this comes in with this low dependency. Now you're at 55 million. So you have a business that with this revenue and EBITDA, it's in the tech sector. Annual growth rate is 25%. In other words, it's just killing it. It's low dependency on the owner, and it's a market leader. Building a business like that, it's 55 million. And remember the initial valuation that we came in at? It was at 19 million. So hopefully this brief demonstration will emphasize that, there is, by just really getting the owner dependency so that the owner is not at all involved in the day-to-day operations. And then, not only that, but also making sure that you're really sound operationally, because let's face it, this annual growth rate and the market position, those are not necessarily drivers are being driven by financial considerations. Those are being driven by the fact that you are so good at what you deliver that you're able to meet the demand and just continue to grow. So really, at the end of the day, I hope what this has shown visually is the fact that this same business, all these business scenarios with 5 million in revenue and 1 million in EBITDA, when you start adjusting all of these things, the reality is that you could go from 19 million up to 55 million in value. That's 30 million. In other words, that's more than doubled in value. And that is just, by simply, not only becoming less dependent on the owner, but also in making sure you have a business that is just really killing it. Is that they're just delivering in ways that they need to. So my encouragement to you is this, is as you go about your business and you start thinking about okay, well, the business that I own is my biggest asset. What are some ways that I can really make this as valuable or even more valuable as possible? Well, hopefully this exit planning tool suite will give you some ideas in terms of improving it. We've just looked right now at simply ways that we can improve the valuation. The other tools are there, which are designed to help give you some ideas about improving things from an efficiency standpoint. But really, all it comes down to when it comes to developing a business is extremely valuable is making sure that you have a business that is operationally as sound as possible and is independent of you. If you have those two things, you are well positioned. Because while you may not necessarily come in as the market leader or your annual growth rate might not be 25%. It may actually be closer to 15%, even though you may not be as good as this last scenario that we showed. The reality is, if you have those two in place, you're going to have a really, really, really valuable payday coming. So, in conclusion, what I would like to encourage is, if you have watched this presentation and you're interested in finding ways that we can help you achieve this, definitely please contact me. My contact information is in the description of this video link. And I'd just love to sit down, talk, really have an opportunity to just find ways that we can really grow your business. Because obviously, as you see on the screen, helping owners and founders exit to begin the next chapter is a big part of what we do. And that is how I really want to end it, is just the opportunity to sit down, talk with you, and find a way that we can help you begin your next chapter.